Hello there, my name is Rachel. I am Director of ThoughtBox Education. In this second video in our series of climate conversations, I just wanted to spend a little time talking to you about the role of teachers and parents when having conversations with children about climate change and why it's important to consider what our role is as educators to support both our emotions and those of our children when responding to the climate crisis. The conventional role of a teacher is to become an expert in a field of study and then to almost impart that information and those ideas to young people, exploring different ideas about a subject. However, when it comes to climate change, teachers cannot simply be expected to be subject specialists and teach this information to our children. For a start, climate change is a hugely complex issue in which there are not very simple answers. There are more questions right now than answers. And secondly, climate change needs to be exploring the emotions of young people and the emotions of ourselves when bringing this up in the classroom. So we cannot, as teachers or parents, simply just teach the facts of climate change. There are no quick fix solutions and there are no clear right or wrong approaches that we can take, and we're often going to be finding that there are more questions than answers right now. Secondly, we are not the experts. We cannot be expected to suddenly all study in depth the climate crisis and the cause and effect. We can find information to support us, and we've been working on this climate curriculum for a long time to do that. But we are not expected to be experts. Many teachers and parents are avoiding talking about climate change at all because there is a fear, naturally so, that we don't know the answers and therefore we shouldn't invite the questions. But it's becoming ever more obvious just how important inviting a space to talk is for children. And so there is a responsibility that we have as educators and as parents to welcome those spaces into the classroom, into the school and into the home. What we're trying to do with ThoughtBox is support you in knowing how best to do that so that you feel well in those spaces and your children are getting the guidance and support that they need. So firstly, is a shift as a teacher from being a subject specialist and an imparter of information to being a facilitator of learning. So what does that mean? What does it mean to facilitate the learning? Well, firstly, let's start thinking about the space we need in a classroom to be exploring a topic together rather than imparting information. There needs to be a safe space created in a classroom environment to be exploring what is a very difficult issue, which is a very emotive issue, and an issue that doesn't have a simple right or wrong when it comes to the answer. Climate change is going to be bringing up in young people more questions than answers, and that's okay. Having the curiosity to ask the questions is really important, but more so is giving our children the opportunity to do so. They're talking about, thinking about, worrying about, responding to climate change, whether we like it or not. And it's very important for us to step up right now and invite the spaces to be talking. And we as educators and as parents have the opportunity to be creating safe spaces to guide and support our children in doing so. So in our classrooms, in our homes, we can create a space where children know that their voices can be heard, and we can encourage them to be asking questions and sharing their thoughts and feelings when responding to some quite big and very scary things happening around them. Facilitating discussions is a skill that all of us can learn, and we're supporting this in our free parent and teacher guide and also in our regional trainings. And learning how to be guiding questions and helping children to explore some of the questions and thoughts and feelings that they're having about climate change is part of our support that we're offering. So facilitating rather than teaching. Creating a safe space for children to be exploring their questions and their emotions about climate change. But thirdly is exploring and supporting our emotions as the adults. We are not immune from responding emotionally to the climate crisis. We are all feeling fearful, empowered, excited, overwhelmed, anxious, terrified. Whatever those feelings are, they're very valid and incredibly welcome in these conversations. And so to be in the best place to support our young people in these conversations, we also need to be supporting ourselves. So we need to have safe spaces that we can be talking to others about climate change. We can be exploring, finding out answers or ideas to the questions that we have. We need to be helping our own emotional well-being by by offering ourselves these spaces to be talking. We need to be giving ourselves a network of support. And again, we're working closely with the Climate Psychology Alliance and climate psychologists to best support teachers in doing this and best support parents in doing this. So knowing who the network of support is that you can turn to support your emotional well-being. So what we're trying to do through ThoughtBox programs is not only offer a free curriculum to be bringing these spaces into the classroom, but also offer a free teacher's guide as to how to create these safe spaces, how to start facilitating these conversations. But we've taken this now one step further and are putting on a series of regional trainings for teachers and for parents on how to create safe spaces in the classroom, how to facilitate teaching and learning about climate change, how to support students' emotional well-being and resilience, how to support our own emotional well-being and resilience, and how to develop skills and tools for responding to the climate crisis with a sense of empowerment, empathy and engagement rather than overwhelm, anxiety and shutdown. One of the main focuses we're looking at is helping us all to move from what's being termed as climate anxiety to seeing this as climate empathy. We are responding with overwhelm and anxiety because we care. We are actually showing empathy for the world around us, for the planet that we're living on, for the species that are being impacted. And that response of eco-empathy is actually a very empowering and outward facing response rather than eco-anxiety, which is more coming back into ourselves and perhaps feeling a little bit oppressive. So we're working to support teachers and educators in seeing how we can channel eco-empathy into a space of empowerment. But it starts with creating the space in the first place to be having these conversations. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of having these conversations as parents and as teachers. We do not need to know the answers. We simply need to welcome the conversation.